Hey everybody, it's Jim here. I don't make a lot of serious content on this YouTube channel. I normally try to keep people a little bit away from the real world and try to provide you with a little bit of entertainment here and there and perhaps a laugh now and then. But today I wanted to start off on a serious note because obviously the Hurricane Helene just happened here in Florida and other parts of the United States of America. Obviously, we are just fine. I got power in the house. Everyone is safe and sound. The wife is asleep. The little one is asleep. And everything is going great on our end. We were really unaffected by this one, especially since we were really scared of what could happen, having lived through Hurricane Ian in Fort Myers. We're truly blessed for it, and we're eternally thank you to everyone who reached out to myself and to my wife to make sure that we were okay and wish us well before the hurricane, whether it was through a comment, through a text message, or through a phone call. Knowing that we have so many awesome people in our lives is truly a blessing, on top of the fact that obviously we're all okay and safe and sound. That being said, though, we are lucky. Some people were not so lucky, and a lot of people have been greatly affected by this. Some, it will be life-changing. There is no doubt about it. And some, in the worst-case scenarios, lost their lives. I set up a fundraiser for this, and I found a charity that I think looks pretty good. They specialize in disaster relief. It's called All Hands and Hearts. There's going to be a link to it in the description of this video. I assume all of the money that you donate will go directly to them. I do not believe YouTube gets a cut, and obviously I'm not getting anything out of this, but it would be good to try and pay it forward a little bit for those who are not fortunate enough to avoid this storm. Now, with that out of the way, I mean, that's not like it's an ad read or anything like that, but it's something I'm just not used to talking about because it's such a serious kind of thing. One of the people that called me called this morning, and it was actually my Sweetwater representative. Now, before you start thinking he's trying to sell me something, he's actually a really good guy. His name is Tyler Moore, and he knew what we went through with Ian. And he called. He's like, I have family in Bonita Springs, which is really close to where we were in Fort Myers, and he wanted to make sure that we were okay. And we got to talking, and it was really good, And after we had established that, yeah, things are in decent shape, he was telling me about some of the stuff that was going on over at Sweetwater. And they had Paul Reed Smith come over, and a lot of the people got to ask them questions. And my rep Tyler's a funny guy. He kind of reminds me of myself in some ways. He likes to just kind of push buttons for the sake of it. And he was kind of ribbing Paul a little bit about left-handed guitars, but he went on to tell me that not only does he himself own a bunch of PRS guitars, which I'm sure I know for a fact, actually. A lot of people that watch these videos also love PRS guitars, but what I didn't know about Paul Reed Smith. I didn't know Paul Reed Smith actually has a second company that has nothing to do with guitars. And Tyler was telling me it's called Digital Harmonic, and it's actually founded, and their mission is to create technology that helps fight against and help prevent and help spot cancer. And I didn't know that Paul Reed Smith was so affected personally by cancer. I mean, it's not the most surprising thing in the world. I mean, we just had friend of the channel, Robbo. He recovered from cancer, and I know another viewer, Deb, also had breast cancer. She's a survivor too, and so it's out there. It's a very real thing, but when you hear that somebody else is affected by it, and they went out of their way, in this case with Mr. Smith, to actually make a company and try and use the knowledge that he has about guitars and find a breakthrough to kind of correlate all of the science and the math that goes into guitar making at the level that he does it, and make it into something that can do something so much more than a guitar could, and that's potentially save lives. I thought that was really cool, and we were talking again about just companies we like supporting, and obviously I'm holding to Sir. I'm really, really into that company, and I think John Sir himself, I mean, just seems like such an awesome guy. Again, really similar to the Paul, that where he'll speak to anybody. He goes on the forums. He does all this cool stuff, right? But with Paul, I don't know. I don't know if I was more surprised or more just impressed or more just like, man, that's the kind of person, that's the kind of company that I would like to, really support. Just like with Sir, just like with Lawler. I think that they're an awesome company. I've gotten to know some people over there. They're awesome. People at Origin Effects, awesome. Even the people at X5. It's like doing this YouTube thing. I get to make relationships with some of these people. Yeah, mostly about products, right? But along the way, you get to know these people, and even the guys at Buyer Bar Music, Alex and Dave, and even Fabio. Like, you get to know a little bit about them every time you talk to them, and sometimes the conversation can shift a little bit, and you learn that we're all not so different. And when you can actually put faces and know people and know that they have families and know that they're doing the right thing, that it's not just this like mega giganto corporation owned by an old car garage. And yeah, it's weird. It kind of makes you think about where your money goes in all this, because at the end of the day, one thing I've tried to say with all these YouTube videos that it took me a while to figure out is the gear that you have is really mostly a tool. Some of it is sentimental, and obviously I have some guitars that mean much more to me than just being something that I express myself and create music with. But at the end of the day, the most important tools you'll ever have are your hands, your head, and your technique. If you can hear something in your head, you have the ability to be able to make it a reality with an instrument. That's paramount. That's something that's going to transcend any brand, any model, any amplifier. It does not matter at that point. If it's good enough, it's going to sound good. So just remember, that is the most important thing. But kind of piggybacking off of what I'm talking about in this video, speaking about some of these other brands that really put in that extra and really do their best, I mean, in many ways, these are more than tools. They're priceless in many ways. They're priceless because they represent the hard work that people put in, the passion that people put into things. And when it's done by people that really give a shit and really give a damn, you could say whatever you want about the cost. You could hate Sir Guitars, you could hate PRS, you could hate any of the brands that I just mentioned, but it's different when you see that. And it really makes me question, where my money goes. And that's again why we ditched the previous amplifier, and I feel a lot better about having the Dr. Z and all that. So I kind of got lost there for a minute. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't slept much, and that's not an excuse, but I also am not used to talking about such serious stuff. I'm really bad at this. I'm much better complaining about the lack of Fender Jaguars out there in the world. So I'll try and wrap this up. And I said I had a question for you guys. When you guys are thinking about buying new gear, because obviously you guys are thinking about it all the time, otherwise why would you click this? There's so many other channels on YouTube, right? How much do you think about that other part of it? Do you care at all who you support, where that money is going? Or is it just the tool? Is it just, I want a Tele that's a Fender Tele. I want a Les Paul that's a Gibson Les Paul. I don't care. And I'm not saying that these are horrible companies. You know what I mean? Like, I own Fender guitars. I own a Gibson guitar. Whatever. It is what it is, right? Fantastic instruments, the ones that I have. And there's some great people that work at both of those companies. I am 100% positive of that. But do you go out of your way to think about things? Are these things that you consider when you are thinking about making a purchase? Because to me, the older I get and the more I get to know people within this industry, the more it does matter to me. And you'll see more of that coming forward. I promise. That's it. I'm going to awkwardly end this awkward video. If you want to donate, in all seriousness though, there is a link to the charity All Hands and Hearts that will be available to you probably right underneath this video. And I'm sure that the families and the people that receive this help and this money will be eternally grateful for it. Thank you for watching today's video. Hopefully this is the last sort of one of these that I have to make for a long time. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take it easy.